To everyone that's here in this session today, I would like to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Aaron Henley Tai. So, Aaron over here, he's from Grid, and he'll be sharing with us a very interesting topic today. So, do stay tuned. And for all of our attendees over here, we actually do have a poll question that will be ready for you over the next few minutes. So if you look at your right side of the event portion where you have the chat and polls Q&A, do participate in the poll. Why? Because you'll be eligible for the lucky draw. And what will happen is the winner will be eligible for a $15 Grab voucher. So this will be conducted at the very end of the session itself. So do stay tuned, stay engaged, ask as many questions as you like towards the end. And I would like to then pass the mic over to you, Mr. Aaron.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Christine. Okay, let me get this started. I'm just trying to share screen as well. Okay, I hope you guys actually can see my screen. Okay, let me hide this. I cannot hide. Okay, Ken. Hello. Thank you for joining my masterclass this afternoon. Hope you guys actually enjoying the full day program at SYEA 2021 so far. I'm Aaron, the Managing Director and Executive Creative Director at Grid Private Limited. A bit about myself before I actually start to share my topic for today. I have more than 23 years of work experience in the creative industry. Work in 4 different cities and 6 different companies that include MNC and SME. Currently, I'm actually the co-owner of Grid. Who is Grid actually? So this is actually very introductions. Who is Grid? Grid is actually a 360 experiential agency providing a full suite of advertising, design, and event services to our fast-moving consumer goods clients and also B2B clients as well. We actually started as a graphic design company about 30 years ago. So in the past, we do a lot of advertising campaign and some designs and things like that. But we evolve. I think after 3 decades, we have to evolve certain times. So we went into doing a lot of events and activations as well. I think the past 3 years, I think last year, especially during the pandemic, actually, we did a bit of like rebranding and restructures as well. Like many other traditional industry, the creative industry has witnessed numerous changes in light of 4th industrial revolutions. Around the world, creatives are increasingly shifting focus from traditional out-of-home and TV advertising to capitalize on the potential of digital media. So in this masterclass, I actually will share with you an in-depth look at what was the homegrown creative agency like Grid has adapted to evolving demands of clients and also consumers alike in the last 3 decades. A lot changes, yeah. Whether it's restructuring and rebranding the core business, ensuring stakeholder buy-in, or embarking on the partnerships as well. So today's topic is about how to drive rather to survive in a dynamic creative industry. So when I first took over the business, actually, what I actually did is I quickly looked into the structure of the business, which I wanted to make sure what we are doing or providing to our clients' need must be relevant to the industry trends during the moment. So I think I used to actually work at Grid for about 9 years, and then I was headhunted to MNC, and then I came back and I took over the business. So when I took over the business, I do met a lot of people in the industry, and then hear the terms industry trend during some networking sessions. So when I actually took over the business, I actually asked myself, what is the industry trend for us? Because I think taking over an agency is not as easy, although there's actually a brand, a legacy that being built in the past. But I think in the creative industry, it's so fast moving, and then things need to be upkeep and trending all the time. So I think moving forward to the right business directions, after more than 3 decades in the industry, I actually keep asking that questions. I even asked the stakeholders as well. Do we need to upskill to keep up in the industry trend? And then, things like that. So at the end, yes, I think we pretty much need to, because if not, then we will be outdated, especially we are doing creatives, yeah. So here's some of the action that we took, or rather I actually suggest to the team, and then what we need to do. So first is to identify the evolving needs of clients. I think this is important, not only apply to the creative agency, but I think it applies to a lot of different industry as well. I think always keep a listening ears on when we are with our clients, because I think being an observant person myself, I think is rather lucky. So I really observe what the client's conversation is, where are they moving, especially we are in the front line servicing clients. So we need to build that relationship with the clients and know what their concerns in their businesses, because we are in a service industry so-called as well. We actually provide solutions to the client, creative solutions. So we need to understand how we can actually help them this year, next year, or the year after as well. So we need to actually have a listening ear to discuss, able to make discussions or start a brainstorming with the client. So, or even chat with them. Yeah, so chat with them is actually rather important. So with their plans moving forward, especially the marketing team. So business marketing plans changes from time to time. So I think it's good to know what is the agenda within the organizations. So then will help us to understand the needs of clients, and to help, then we can actually counter propose what are the solutions for them as well. And then it also able to us to think twice whether we need to change or upskill to keep up. But do take note, time is important, yeah, it's everything actually. The more you delay, the more businesses you might be losing at the end, because you do not know other agency might be able to offer things that you can't offer, or maybe able to offer services or solutions that you can't even offer in our dynamic, ever-changing industry. So we identified the problems, the needs, and then we move on to the next step. So my next step is actually pretty straightforward, I should say. So once we actually identify the trends, how we should move on, we actually prepare a business proposal. So and then to obtaining and ensuring buy-in from the stakeholders, because I agreed we do have actually few stakeholders, not only myself. And when I actually took over the job, I have to think and then restructure the business to make sure the business is able to sustain, because for the past 30 years it sustained doing the same thing. And then I think about but in our 25th anniversary we actually did a rebranding as well before I left. So but I think now we also have to, because I think with the pandemic I think there's a lot of changes, yeah, especially we are doing a lot of events, especially last year we have a lot of physical events was cancelled or even postponed. We have to really put our thinking hat and think how can we actually help our clients bring the physical events into virtual, like what we are doing it now. So so what we have to do in this particular exercise, there's this point, I actually did a proposal together with one of my teammates, and then doing an updated proposal is actually pretty essential. And then especially when you first came back and took over a business. Just like putting a case up, we need to prepare facts to prove the wrong. And then same apply to our business. As the current business structure is no longer relevant, we will need to evolve and need to update and need to be upgraded. So with the updated business proposal, we will be able to convince our stakeholders for a buy-in. So at least they actually understand the situations now, and then what we need to change and what we need to move on, and then how can we actually upskill to continue to actually provide relevant services and solutions to our clients. Yeah, because I think just to give you a bit of example, in the past I actually been around, working in the industry for about 24 years, and in the past a lot of things are manual. Yeah, so we don't really use too much of computer. And then currently a lot of designs that you see, even my current presentation deck, we actually have to use a graphic software to design, to make it looks good, right? people love beautiful things. Beautiful things attract people as well. So we have to actually put up the case and then to show the stakeholders, especially my stakeholders are in their 50s and 60s. So they started the company 34 years ago. So it's very different from now. So I have to make a point to convince them if for the business to sustain for the next 10 years, for example, we don't talk about like 30 years, for 10 years, what do we need to do? Yeah, so I think that is actually very important. Usually this process actually take a while. As the stakeholders is usually a bit more careful, they need to actually see things, they need to understand how they actually can accept the changes, because change is actually not easy for everyone. But I think if it's actually able to help a better change, why not? So so once the stakeholder buy in, actually next section we took is actually restructuring and rebranding to cope with the change. So a lot of people are talking about, I think a lot industry, we just actually finished a Smart Nation event as well, together with 4 ministers. And the ministers actually talking about the digitalizations, actually moving everything to digital. Doesn't matter which industry you're from. I think for us, we are pretty much moving into digital as well. So when I came back and took over the business, what I actually realized is we are still doing the very traditional way of managing events and things like that. We even the advertising is actually like the old school. I think not a lot of people actually do print and press set anymore. I mean, also not a lot of clients have the budgets to do TVC. Yeah. So in the past, we actually have a lot of clients have the money, which is $500,000, to do a TVC, even like planning a 360 campaign as well. Nowadays, no, we don't have that kind of marketing dollars anymore. Very seldom, I should say. So we actually have to cope with the change. So those are the change that actually so-called like hints to us we need to change. So which is currently, I think everyone's using social platforms. We actually need to go to digital marketing. Yeah. And I told the team, I do have a bit of digital marketing background. I went for my courses. I upskill myself. Why not? We actually offer our client to do digital marketings. Yeah, which is not for all the clients, of course. Not all the brands can do digital marketing, especially healthcare. They can't. But then again, we have consumer products, which have consumer clients as well. So it's a good way to actually market the products. So with the business plan that we put together, so we actually look into the structures. So once we have the buy-in from the stakeholders, so we actually need to not convince lah. It's more like share with our employees. I think that's important as well. So other than the stakeholders agree to the to change, the employees also have to. I can't just let them go and ask them to go and then hire a new batch of new blood. I can't do that. So so we train them. So we actually make them understand as well. So it's actually more like employee upgrading here. So with the business plan, I share with the employees and then say that we have to change. We have to change our mindset. We cannot get too comfortable. When you get too comfortable, things will just get very stagnant. So we cannot get too comfortable, especially we are in a creative agency. So things are moving so fast, especially social media are keep changing, different trend, different social platform, different social apps that everyone's using, So we have to keep up ourselves trending, up to trend as well. So with that, that's actually the first part that we actually look into the employees upgrading sale. And then after that, we'll look into the corporate identity, which is a company brand identity. We always actually, I encourage it that what I say is actually start with the mindset of the employee. That's actually the first thing that what we do. Share with them the experience, making sure the employees actually buy into the ideas and then agree to the ideas as well. And then guiding them along with the change journey. It's not easy, as I mentioned. No one's like to no one's like to change, So it's not easy at all. So I think what we do is actually guiding them through the journey and explaining them, showing some example, how can we actually sustain and then moving forward with the business as well. So encouraging the upskills, encouraging upskills, I think, so they can really provide relevant knowledge to our clients. And then come to the branding identities perspective, which is the look and feel. I think for the past 30 years, Grid has been playing very safe for the past 30 years. Instead of looking hip and young and totally creative, we used to look pretty much corporate, I should say. Not that bad, but it's actually very corporate. Doesn't really fit into the creative agency kind of like category. So even some of the employees are saying that, can we actually go a bit bolder, things like that. So we did. So last year, I think, the process of, I actually took over the business about 3 years ago. And the first 2 years, basically to restructure, took some time to restructure, and then getting some new business to come in. And then last year, during the circuit breaker, so we were actually, if it's actually not going to circuit breaker, we're actually quite busy. We actually have few high-level events actually to plan as well, and then some campaigns to do. But I think during the circuit breaker, all of us have to stay home. We can't, and the events are all canceled. We have to really think, those are the times that we have, which is I have time at home to think what is actually the next step we need to do. After that, we have the first 2 points that we actually mentioned, which is I mentioned just now, which is first is actually identify the needs of the client. Second is actually the restructuring, so to obtain the buy-in from the stakeholders. So this is actually the third point. The employees also know what is actually happening now, what we need to do. So I wanted it to change. So we rebrand ourselves. We actually did our rebranding exercise together with the team. So what I did is actually we formed a small team, which is about 6 or 7 of us. We have our business team, and also we have our creative team join together and brainstorm and think and want them to be more involved in the structures of the companies as well. So because usually I prefer a bit more culture, a bit more teamwork. Instead of me doing all the things I can, but I do not want to do that. I want to actually involve my team to come in, to sit down together and brainstorm. And how should we move on? How should we sustain the business, right? How should we actually rebrand ourselves, the look and feel, even for the characters as well. So this is actually what we did. So this is actually the video that we put together. I call it a brand video. And the new logo currently you see on the top left of my deck is actually the new logo, a bit more young, and then it's customized. It's actually created by a designer from scratch. And we put this video together. Yeah, so and then that's like the brand video, which is actually use it to share with all of our clients. So what we did is actually a very detailed brand campaign, where I always believe that the team actually able to provide solutions and to our clients. Why not we actually do the same to ourselves as well? So we need to want to get it right before we actually can actually move on. So what we did is actually we come out a series of social posts, and where we introduce our new brand characters, which is I think what you see the brand video just now was actually our brand new characters video. So we wanted to be edgy, which is I think in the creative industry, we have to be edgy. I think especially now, there are so many different agencies out there, especially Singapore is so small. There are so many big boys and SME out there. We have to be different. We have to be dynamics. We have to know we have to be the first one to know, or we have to actually sit down and brainstorm what are the solutions, new solutions that clients actually didn't come to us. We can go to them first. We have to be inventive. So during the I think the circuit breaker, I actually also formed a team to think about how we can actually help clients to move a physical event to virtual as well. So we invented our own event portal, which is very similar to the current portal that you guys are actually watching, Hopins. So, but it's a bit more simplified. And then, of course, we have the playful. Because it's a creative agency, I cannot actually micromanage my team. I cannot let my team, just do, what I'm actually being instructed, because I don't like that. I like my team to actually come and challenge me as well. Playful is actually part of our work, and then you need time to actually to refresh your mind, and then to breathe. Just do that. When we work hard, we work hard. We play hard as well. We need to be bold, because if you're not bold, you'll be basically eaten up by other people as well. Especially if you're not rebellious. Rebellious, I think, is a character that I actually put in me when I'm young. I'm a very rebellious child. But I think rebellious actually help us in the creative industry in a way that always think out of the box. We don't go with the old ways, because I think, as mentioned, that a lot of people actually like to see new things, creative stuff, and things like that. And then we also rebranded ourselves 3 years ago to a 360, because a lot of clients actually will prefer to work with an agency which is able to actually provide end-to-end services, which is called One Stop. And then last is, of course, is forward-looking. In terms of the designs and things like that, we have to be able to follow the trend. Or of course, not go out of the board as well. So that's what we do. So we actually came out a series of social posts, using digital. I created our sign up actually, few social platforms actually to promote Greed with the new brand video, and then reintroduce the staff and the employees, and then their capabilities and things like that, to share with the world, and or at least to share with the industry or our clients. We have rebranded, we have restructured as well. We are here to help you and able to give you solutions whenever, whatever you need. So things like that is actually important. So like what I mentioned is actually the different social platforms. So we use all these assets. We use it on the Instagram, on the week one, introduce all the new characters, then also on the Facebook as well. And then we also created a LinkedIn, which is LinkedIn is actually a bit more showing the new character, the new brand identity, at the same time introducing the staff. That's actually was the second phase. Yeah, I remember. And then sharing with the world about our team, our dynamic team that actually able to support and then understand and upskill themselves. And you even actually created a YouTube channel to actually showcasing all our video work as well. So that's actually the third task or third actions that we took, which is last year. And then at the same time, concurrently, we also actually do work on our last task, so-called last actions, which is discovering new partnerships and collaborations as well. Just to give you a bit of example as well, Grid in the past, we used to have about 45 strength. Yeah, so that's actually the most, those are the time that we have a lot of employees in one entity. I think because we have multiple corporate clients that we need to manage. And those times actually we need to actually produce a lot of high level and also big campaigns as well. So the team was actually rather big. And I used to actually take care of, I used to be a creative director, head of creative, and then taking care of about 16 to 18 designers, copywriters, and also art directors as well. So those are the times that we are, I call it peak time, which we have a bigger team. So I should say about mid-sized agency. And we scale down quite a bit. So because I think the industry evolved, also actually helping us to actually to scale down and then to identify and then to know what we need and then what we want and how we sustain as well. So we even used to have a production house doing other production work as well. We used to have our warehouse to store our inventory. So with the new business plan that we actually have, it changes everything actually. We realized actually whatever, even the warehouse, just for example, I started from the warehouse, we can't sustain the warehouse because most of the logistics items we can actually cheaply actually rent out from our logistic partners. Then our production house, which is a production unit actually doing all the printing, and the setup and things like that, can't sustain. we have to actually, there are some partners out there are even providing better quality and then more affordable prices for us. So then, those are the hints, I think, that we actually so-called realize that we actually need to no longer actually do the same thing as what we actually do in the past. So we scale down quite a bit. So we actually close down our productions, and then we prefer to work with different partners because different partners can offer different kind of like services to us as well with very affordable prices. And then next is actually we close down our warehouses. We actually donated a lot of items to our partners as well instead of throwing away, so we actually can pass on or donate into our partners, then they can actually use it to rent it up. So that's what we do. Yeah, we streamline and then we become a bit more focused. So I think with the upgraded business plan, it really helps a lot actually to have relevant knowledges for our clients' needs. And also we became a bit more specific, have specific skill sets to execute the end results. Working with different partners, I think is important, we are very blessed that we have a pool of partners that we work very closely together, enable us to provide end-to-end service for our clients. Even that's actually work, I should say, work both ways. From working together with different partners, we are able to learn different things. Because I think we have our own skill set, which is I think on the creative side, but and the execution side as well. But these partners will know what they are able to do. So we actually identify the partners as well. We work with them. Yeah. So also keep motivating us to learn and carry on as well. For example, just give you an example, like what I mentioned is actually we are experts. We are expertise in conceptualizations and to provide great content for a digital marketing campaign. Well, we can actually work on the concept and the design, while we also can actually manage the social platform ourselves too. But then again, that there's a lot of digital company out there struggle, looking for businesses. So we actually put them in to ask them to give them a bit of the pie and to share the whole pie with them. That's me. So I like to collaborate. I like to actually share the work with the people that I am comfortable with, of course, and I trust as well. And with all these partners that actually we work together in the past 3 years, I must say we are pretty blessed, and we work both ways. So some of them actually even have an ITQ invited pitch. They wanted us to come in and actually support. So we split. We actually work together as like a team, like almost like an entity. How we can actually put a proposal together and win the project together. So it's a win-win situation, really. So no longer in the past, like a lot of companies are so greedy, they want to do a lot more, they want to expand. But when you expand, you actually will be diluted certain department or divisions as well. So the business plan, part of the business plan is actually to be focused, to know what is actually upcoming that we need to learn. We upskill quickly, and then we focus on that, and then to help the clients to actually give them the solutions as well. So I think that's my last actions, and I think to sum up my presentations, what we actually need to do is actually, if you're going to start a new business or maybe you are taking over, these are the advices that I think all of us actually have to learn. I mean, although I actually didn't really go for a business school, although my parents actually wanted me to go to a business school, but I didn't. So I actually take initiative, actually go for a part-time business courses and learn, and then read a lot of books as well online, whether it's a physical book online, and talk to a lot of people to understand how to manage a business. And then for Grid today, we are very blessed. We do have a lot of partners that we work very closely together, and then we build that trust. And then we also have a lot of clients that are actually supporting us. and throughout the years as well. And then we are moved together. We actually evolve together. And then I always tell my team, don't get too comfortable. Even that the clients actually went quiet, especially during last year. Let's actually use the time to think of a proposal or something out of the box that can actually help the clients to generate businesses, to generate new revenue, because you do not know, because it's like what I say is win-win situations. Yeah, so I think we have to really get this right first before we can actually continue to move on and build the business. If you never get it right, you will be struggling throughout the journey, and then no matter how, you still need to go back to the very, very first step, how you want to manage the business. Yeah. So I think that comes to the end. So it's about slightly more than half an hour's presentations. I hope I don't bore you guys. So really, thank you again for joining my masterclass today. Hope it's actually insightful for you guys. And I know that we have some I will open for Q&A. So maybe now I will actually stop sharing screen and then maybe look at some questions. So if you guys have questions, I will look at the Q&A. So far, no questions coming in. Okay, I actually saw Muhammad Nuris Idris Laha. It said a possibility of collaboration between us. Of course, we are very open. So I think you can. So sorry to pardon us. Our website is actually haven't go live yet. So it will go live next week, because I think next Saturday, 1st of May, is actually our 34th anniversary for SME. So look at our website, and then there are some services which is actually listed out in the website. You can actually look at it next week, and then there's actually a portion which is at the bottom of the website. You can actually send us questions as well. So then we will able to connect. Yeah, we'll be able to meet as well. So then we'll see what is actually our both side capability and work together. No problem. Okay, Steve is actually asking about some creative projects you did for currently with COVID. Oh, okay, sure. But I don't have a deck, but I will just share verbally. We did, I think during the circuit breaker, what we did is actually we used that about 2 months period to brainstorm together with our clients to understand how can we actually move, with the plans of, with the industries open up, what can we do? Yeah. So for example, I just use the example like healthcare. So one of our healthcare clients is, in the past, they do a lot of brochures. So the salesperson actually will use a physical brochures actually to present to their doctors, especially during this pandemic. No one can meet. Yeah. So they can't even meet the doctors, and the doctors are so busy. And then they also don't have time for you to meet them as well. So clients actually bounce back the questions to us. I want to actually to keep continue meeting the doctors and then selling them my new products, for example, or new services. What can we do? So we brainstorm with a team. So we help them to convert all their so-called physical brochures or physical detail aid, we call it, to a e-detail aid. Electronic detail aid, which is go digital. Yeah. So we actually design in such that they can actually use it to present through an iPad or through Zoom call. So usually I think all these corporate meetings, virtual corporate meetings are through Zoom call or Microsoft Teams or maybe a Google Meet as well. So we actually design the e-detail aid in such that there's animations, interactive. So allows the salespersons actually to click, and then when the doctors are asking questions, and within that 15 minutes, they can actually quickly, screen through the presentation. And other than that, we also help them to, what should I say, to with all the content provided, we actually keep into a bite size because these doctors are so busy. So we actually keep into bite-size point forms and then allows the salesperson actually to click through the presentations and then to present through all the pointers. And the doctors love it. And currently we are still doing it. There are a few new projects which is also you require us actually to support as well. That's actually what we actually developed. And then also from the event perspective, as mentioned that during the circuit breaker, I form a team to actually help to put virtual platforms. We call it virtual, which is currently what you're actually using now, which is now we are in this Hopins event portal. We actually created one ourselves to actually help the clients to bring the physical events to virtual. So because we do events, we have experience in doing that. So we actually help to because a lot of clients actually from the marketing point of view, they actually need to actually have a lot of branding space. So we actually help to do that. So then we actually did our launch immediately when we actually go into our phase 2, I think, phase 2, yeah, where we actually can go back to office, not going back to office, actually can do meetings and things like that. Then we actually do our virtual launch and invited all our clients, almost about 100 of them, and then to join us for the virtual launch. And we introduced the event portal, the platform to them. And we actually received a lot of inquiry, during that launch as well. And then at the end, I think during that time, there's a lot of partners, digital partners also reach out to us and also wanted to partner with us as well and collab and then to design such platforms for any clients. So I think now we actually have so many all these digital platforms in the market that we can actually pick and choose which one we want to use. So that's what we do as well. And lucky enough, I think during phase 2, I think end of last December, we actually able to do the first physical event at Istana, which is for SG Enable and also MediaCorp. It's actually for Goh Chok Tong Enable Awards. We actually did the inaugural in 2019 physical at Istana, and the GOH was actually president, Madam President, and also Mr. Goh Chok Tong. That was actually about 250 packs. Yeah. And last year, when it's actually in phase 2, we are allowed to do about 50 packs, meaning a maximum. So we actually have the very blessed that we actually able to actually execute the first physical event during the pandemic, also at Istana as well. But of course, the planning was actually rather stress. Yeah, I should say stress. Which is my team and myself. We have to go through rounds of meetings, to make sure the safe distancing, safety measurements are all being applied during the events as well. Was actually a very good experience, I can tell you, because I think not a lot of companies have that chances, to actually plan a physical event at Istana. We did, and I really appreciate my team and putting in a lot of efforts and late night works as well, together with the clients, and then plan these physical events. With now planning physical events no longer like in the past, not that straightforward. So we have to even go for courses. Even two of my stakeholders, which is the co-founder of Greed, he actually even went for NTUC Learning Hub to take up safe distancing or safety measurements courses for MICE and MICE. So we are so-called certified. So we are preparing ourselves, upskill ourselves for this year, especially when we actually the economy is actually slightly opening up, and then there are a lot more requests for physical or so-called hybrid events to be executed. So we are ready, we are planned. So always actually have to plan forward what we can see, what we can envision, what will happen. I'm sure all of you can meet from different industry. I'm sure you can envision what is going to be in the next 1 or 2 years. So then you plan forward. Don't as mentioned in my presentation, don't wait until last minute. It's actually dangerous for business, especially in, I think within the last 10 months, it's quite sad. I have a lot of, within my network, in the industry network, a lot of people, especially the boutique agency, was actually can't survive. They closed down. And then they are jobless. They're looking for new opportunity and things like that, which is quite sad. So my advice is actually, if you can actually think forward, please think forward, because that will be very, very helpful in terms of what you can actually do to sustain and to help your businesses and also your employee to move on. Yeah. So I think, yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for me? Thank you, Jen Guo, and also Idris as well. I will keep in touch with you. Yeah. So no other questions. Let me see the Q&A. And there's no questions. No questions. I think it's cool. So I think I still have about 15 minutes. So thank you everyone for calling in. Thank you so much actually join me for this masterclass. Hopefully it's actually great help to the entrepreneurs out there, especially the young one. Let's actually collaborate. If you want to collaborate, please actually reach out to us as well. And then I'm sure you will actually have my email address or contact. I'll go to LinkedIn. Yeah, I think the profile is actually linked into my LinkedIn profile. Just send me a message. We will keep in touch. But do bear with me. I'm a pretty busy man. I'm actually managing quite a bit of stuff today. So this morning I just finished, like I just shared with Christine, I just finished a virtual event this morning as well for our healthcare clients. So do bear with me. I will reply you definitely. So, but we will catch up. Yeah. So thank you again. Please stay safe and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.